So while the colonel was at his house, he noticed this man who was dressed up in utility gear, posing as if he was working for the city, taking pictures of his kids. They got into a scuffle, and the colonel put some rounds in this dude and ended up killing him. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time watching me, my name is Jay, retired U.S. Army Green Beret, and the intent behind this channel, guys, is to share my knowledge and wisdom with the next generation. So if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe to help me reach as many individuals as possible. So a few days ago, there was a shooting approximately 15 minutes or so from where I stay. This was in the Pinehurst, Aberdeen, Southern Pines area, right? Moore County. That is one of the suburbs of the Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty area. That area predominantly house your special operation operators, right? You have a lot of Green Berets out there. You have a lot of Delta Force guys out there, right? As opposed to your Fayetteville and Spring Lake, not so much. A lot of those guys stay in there, right? A few days ago, guys, there was a shooting. There was a U.S. Army Special Forces soldier, a Green Beret. I'm not sure which entity he works for, probably 3rd Group, if not JSOC, or probably a Delta Force back there behind the fence, right? He was in his house and his kids were playing in the yard when he noticed a suspicious man taking pictures of his kids, right? Now, this man had a camera that is not foreign to us as Special Forces operators, right? When I was in sniper school, there's certain cameras that we used that allowed us to take pictures from distance, right? It's a reconnaissance camera. You can put multiple lenses on it, you know, and you have a lot of standoff to be able to take these pictures. So while the colonel was at his house, he noticed this man who was dressed up in utility gear, right? Whether it was water or electric, posing as if he was working for the city, taking pictures of his kids. Now, let me know in the comment section below, guys, if that was you, what would you have done? So the colonel, you know, having gone through Special Forces training, having been around the block a couple of times, know that that's not the norm. So he approached the individual and a conversation ensued. Based on the feedback that the colonel gave to the Moore County Sheriff's Department, the individual that he was speaking to spoke broken English and had a heavy Russian accent. They got into a scuffle and the colonel put some rounds in this dude and ended up killing him, right? So after that took place, the colonel called the Sheriff's Department. They arrived on the scene. The Sheriff's Department did their due diligence and they found another individual, heavy Russian accent, in a rental car that was rented in the Midwest, right? So they detained him, questioned him. Same thing, guys, heavy Russian accent, broken English. Off that individual, they were able to recover a phone that was all in Russian, right? As of right now, guys, that's what I know about the shooting that took place out at Southern Pines. What do you guys think is going on here? As Special Forces operators, as Green Berets, we are involved in a lot of different places around the world, to include Ukraine, Africa, you know, the Middle East, and Taiwan, Asia. Like, we are all around those places, right? And it's not uncommon, due to our schoolhouse being here on Fort Bragg or Fort Liberty now, for individuals from all the different groups to come to Fort Liberty, right? So even though this colonel may not be native to 3rd Group, you know, let's say he's native to 10th Group and he did some work in Ukraine, it's not uncommon for him to find himself here on Fort Liberty. Now, I'm not saying that this dude had some dealings in Ukraine and might have pissed off some Russian and that's what's going on. I'm just trying to paint the picture for if he was in 10th Group doing work in Ukraine, what would bring him here. As far as the colonel after the shooting, guys, as far as I'm tracking, he's not in custody. He's not in jail. He's, you know, going about his day-to-day life, right? So, but the case is ongoing. And I'm sure as more information comes out, the Sheriff Department will release it. If you're tracking something that I'm not, please let us know in the comment section below, guys. Although this particular situation, some might think is very common, Guys, I've never heard of, guys being surveilled at their house, right? Typically, like if you go to the Washington, D.C. area or you go to some of these popular places, like especially if you have the trained eye, like you'll see foreign actors performing certain acts, right? Because to think that we don't have, Russian spies or spies from other countries in the United States, like that's a false statement. They do exist, right? But as far as going to a soldier's house and trying to take pictures of their kids for whatever reason, I've never heard of that happening, all right? And I can honestly say if I was in the same shoes as this colonel, I would probably do the same thing as far as putting holes in this dude, right? Let me know what you think, guys. How would you have responded to this situation? Why do you think this was taking place? And what do you think is the end state? A lot of folks are yelling Red Dawn, the Russians are coming, and all this crazy stuff. I have my speculations and my opinions, but I'm eager to hear yours, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. And until next time, take care of yourself.